All right, Boomer Live. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm giving it a little bit so more people can kind of come in. Right now, we're in the second round of the second fight, Randy Costa versus Tony Kelly. Tony Kelly showing that he is in way better condition, and he's been much more aggressive than Randy Costa. Randy Costa, the Massachusetts native, got to give him love, repping the 617. Halfway through round two right now, and Tony Kelly has just been putting the pressure on Randy Costa. Thank everybody for tuning in to the UFC 269 live reactions. Make sure you check us out every Thursday night at 7 p.m. for the weekly podcast, MMA Complete. You can find it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Check out our Twitter at complete_MMA. We're going to be tweeting all throughout the show. UFC 269 is finally here, the last pay-per-view of 2021. And what a pay-per-view, what a year of pay-per-views it's been. Ooh, and Randy Costa lands actually a really good uppercut. Might be turning the page in the second round right now. Costa hasn't had too much offense throughout this fight. Tony Kelly's really been able to put a great pressure on him. Anytime Costa does get in any offense, Kelly brings it to the clinch really quickly. Drop your comments. Let me know what you think about the fight. Let me know what you guys have put any bets on. You can see right here the pod bet that's been hitting for the last couple pay-per-views in a row. We have the over in the O'Malley-Paiva fight. We have the over in Poirier-Oliveira fight. We have Andre Muniz. We have Amanda Nunes. And we have Miranda Maverick moneyline. The pod bet's been super successful ever since UFC 266. We're hoping to keep it going here. Unfortunately, because of COVID restrictions, the boys can't be joining me today. But I'm going to do my best to keep this podcast or this live reactions interesting, as Tony Kelly looking to finish the fight here in the second round. Inside control currently dropping bombs on Randy Costa. Costa isn't doing much, and that fight is stopped. Tony Kelly winner by second round TKO. Unfortunate because Randy Costa was, it was Tony Kelly. Tony Kelly's first fight back from a long layover. Last fight he had, he tore his rotator cuff. And so it's been, I believe, a year and a half since Kelly has competed in the UFC, and he gets a very impressive win over Randy Costa in the bantamweight division. Bantamweight division, super stacked as it is. Tony Kelly trying to make his way into the top 15. And Kelly just put a pace on Costa. You could see that Costa was pretty much gassed at the start of the second round. So good for Tony Kelly. Gets a good, impressive TKO win. He was really just dropping elbows on the ground, inside control, as Kelly does pick up the win. Comments starting to come in. The next fight is going to be Derek Minner, versus Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall, the Ultimate Fighter winner for the 22nd Ultimate Fighter. I think I read that it's been a year to the day that he won the Ultimate Fighter. So Ryan Hall is going to be fighting next against Derek Minner. Ryan Hall, a really good prospect in the featherweight division. Last we saw him, he fought Ilia Topuria. And Topuria kind of beat his ass, but Topuria is up next. One of my favorite prospects that I've been talking about on the podcast every week. Yep, next fight is Ryan Hall versus Derek Minner. The main card doesn't start till about 10 p.m., so we got another 3.5 hours until then, to which I will be here for the entire time. Can't wait. 7-hour podcast, my favorite. I haven't eaten yet, so you guys probably will have to bear me eating sometime through this podcast. I'm going to get Domino's at some point. Yeah, all right, so commenter, thank you for actually putting that in. Someone just commented what happened in the Robertson-Cachoeira fight. So the first fight of the night was an unscheduled bout that really was just filled in a couple days' notice by Priscilla Cachoeira. And Jillian Robertson is a fantastic flyweight, and she has great grappling. So right at the end of round 3, Robertson was able to bring Cachoeira down to the ground and eventually take her back. And as soon as Robertson got her back, she cinched in the rear naked choke. And within only a couple seconds of Robertson getting in the rear naked choke, Cachoeira was trying to gouge the eye of Jillian Robertson. So obviously, if you can think about it, if I'm in a rear naked choke, the person's behind me, their head is right on one of the sides of my head. And Cachoeira just took her thumb just like this and was legit trying to put it right into Robertson's eye. And she did. She was actually successful in it. And the ref called it out and almost smacked her hand out of the way. And Cachoeira tried to do it again. So there was really 2 attempts at an eye gouge within a 20-second span. But Robertson is really proficient with her jiu-jitsu. And actually, it said right after her win, Jillian Robertson's win, that she has now the second most wins in the flyweight division history, or currently, for the UFC. But within 15 seconds, Robertson was able to get the tap from Cachoeira. It was very dirty. It was a really dirty play, and even Joe Rogan called it out in the post-fight interview with both ladies. He kind of called it right to Cachoeira's face, which was pretty funny. But Jillian Robertson was the winner by third round submission, rear naked choke, and then as we just saw, Tony Kelly defeated Randy Costa by second round TKO. 2 fights down in the early prelims, and they're actually really like the next fight. Derek Minner and Ryan Hall they're already walking out to the octagon. So the early prelims are actually going by pretty quickly. We've said this before. We do the UFC pay-per-view live reactions for every single pay-per-view, and we always say this, that it's going fast so far, but once it gets to about 10 o'clock, 11, 12 o'clock at night here in the Eastern Standard Time where I am, you realize that it really hasn't been going that quick. So we are in for a long night tonight. We got about 6.5 hours to go until the main event, give or take. 1 o'clock is usually about when the main event ends. Luckily for us tonight, the prelims and the early prelims have so much weight on each fight. There's so many ranked fighters before the main card. It's kind of ridiculous. If you checked out the podcast last week or just 2 days ago, I talked about how most pay-per-views over the last couple months have been top-heavy. This pay-per-view is almost bottom-heavy. The amount of interesting fights in the early prelims and prelims, unfortunately, one of the most interesting fights in the early prelims was Matt Schnell versus Alex Perez in the flyweight division. That fight had to get canceled, unfortunately. I don't have the reports on that yet. I've been looking on Twitter. for the last couple hours, and I've been trying to figure it out, but it has not been coming up. But that fight, Alex Perez versus Matt Schnell, has been canceled in the early prelims. So to take that place, I do believe I don't even think they're taking that place. I think there's just going to be a layover sometime around 7:30 or 8 o'clock into the prelims. So that's probably when I'm going to try to actually eat. I need to get some food in me. So coming up right now, Derek Minner is actually on his way into the octagon right now, dapping up his teammates. Ref kind of going over, making sure he doesn't have any illegal weapons in his, wristbands and his. Oh, he has socks. Oh, this dude has socks. He's gonna lose. Shout out to Austin Garvey. Ryan Hall is very, very interesting. His jiu-jitsu style is kind of crazy. He kind of reminds me of Tony Ferguson. He goes for a lot of Imanari rolls. He almost looks like he goes breakdancing. In his last fight, it did cost him against Tuporia. He went on his back to try to bring the fight to the ground, and Tuporia just ended up ground and pounding him for the win. But Ryan Hall, with his 4th UFC fight, Derek Minner looking to expose him again. I don't think he will. I think Ryan Hall is going to be able to get the tap sooner rather than later, honestly, against Derek Minner. Check us out every Thursday night, 7 p.m. That's our podcast. MMA Complete. You can check us out on Fans Only Sports Network on Facebook. You can also go follow our Twitter, which is right here, @complete_MMA. We have a YouTube page, MMA Complete Podcast. I'm gonna be trying to get these tweets off. So if I am given dead air time, sorry about that. I got 7 hours to go, so I'm not trying to talk myself out just yet. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We have 26 viewers right now. Appreciate all you guys. Let me know. Drop more comments. Who you guys think is going to win the main event? Any bets you got? Like I said earlier, the pod bets right here. First fight, Miranda Maverick is the next fight after Ryan Hall and Derek Minner. So we need Miranda Maverick to win. Let me know what you guys were putting for bets. Ryan Hall is entering the octagon currently. By the way, the announced team tonight is on par. We got John Anik, we got Daniel Cormier, we got Joe Rogan, the trio, the best trio. Of course, Dominic Cruz will be competing in the prelims tonight, so he obviously wouldn't commentate. Oh, speaking of that, did you guys hear what Sean O'Malley said in the press conference for 269? Sean O'Malley said that Cody Garbrandt's one fight away from being a commentator for the UFC. I thought that was hilarious. I can't wait to see that eventual. They have to fight at some point, right? Like I know Garbrandt just went down to flyweight. He says he wants to run that division, but if he were ever come back up to bantamweight, probably after Sean O'Malley's 1, 2, or 3 more, I would love to see that fight. Garbrandt versus O'Malley. Let me know who you guys think would win that fight. Garbrandt versus O'Malley. Listen, I love Garbrandt. He has the experience. I think he has more power than O'Malley. But if O'Malley keeps going the way he has been, his boxing's looked so crisp. And I know he's not been fighting the greatest people, but we're going to get to see his best competition since Marlon Vera in his fight tonight against Raulian Paiva. So I think if O'Malley can beat Paiva, which I do expect him to, I think O'Malley has a good shot at beating Cody Garbrandt in the future. I don't know if it's going to happen next year, but sometime. Bruce Buffer with kind of a dressed down suit today. We have seen him. He usually changes it in between prelims, early prelims, and the main card. But Bruce kind of just playing it cool so far. I did put out a bunch of polls on our Twitter earlier. I know they are farther down, but you guys can let me know now. I have seen a bunch of you guys say you think Oliveira is going to win. I think in the poll earlier it was a dead split. We had a bunch of votes, and I want to say it's 50-50. I personally think Poirier is going to win. I think Poirier is going to be able to knock out Oliveira. I think it's going to be in like the third or fourth round, though. Here's another Oliveira. Yeah, everybody thinks Oliveira is going to win. I love Oliveira, and he is a great submission expert. His jiu-jitsu, 3-time third-degree Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. Of course, you're going to be talented at submissions, but I think Poirier's wrestling is going to be able to keep him in the ball game on the ground, and then once it gets to standing, I think Poirier is going to be able to drop Oliveira. I think his boxing is so much better. There's a Poirier. All right, so Ryan Hall, Derek Minner is about to start right now. The referee, Jason Herzog, they couldn't close the door. The door was not being able to get shut completely. All right, here we go, though. First round between Derek Hall. I keep saying Derek Hall. Ryan Hall and Derek Minner about to start. Both guys open up an orthodox stance. Ryan Hall looks bored. He has no emotion in there. That's how he normally fights. 15 seconds and he hasn't tried to get it to the ground. It's almost surprising. That's his MO every single time he gets in there. Saw that in the Ultimate Fighter. Someone says that they have a parlay with Ryan Hall, Andre Muniz, and Jeff Neal. I don't know about the Jeff Neal Ponzinibbio fight. That's going to be a really close fight. I like Jeff Neal. I would probably bet on him too, but I'm not convinced enough, honestly. Ooh, and Derek Minner is going for a lot of leg kicks. Ryan Hall trying to check him. Like I said earlier, last time we saw Ryan Hall, he got dropped by Tuporia, and that was a bad loss for him. He's definitely underrated, Ryan Hall. Tuporia That was a really good prospect matchup. Hall and Tapor. Oh, and Ryan Hall going for a knee bar. Crazy how he goes for a takedown and transitions to a knee bar that quickly. He doesn't have it cinched in. He's a little too high up on the knee. All right, now Minner was able to get out of it. Minner actually takes the back, but Ryan Hall gets the... Oh my God, the way he transitions into those knee bars is so ridiculous. And now he's actually in top mount on Minner. Ryan Hall's jiu-jitsu is fantastic. He's so creative on the ground. His joint submissions are really top-notch. You don't see him go for too many chokes, but if he gets a hold of your arm or your leg, you better watch out. Yep, a couple people saying they think Ryan Hall's going to win. I agree with you. Halfway through, or almost halfway through round one right now. Ryan Hall is sitting down with Derek Minner in his grasp right now. Minner trying not to get in a choke position. Ryan Hall is just able to make so many different transitions on the ground into so many weird positions. Officially halfway through round one right now. Oh, huge uppercut by Minner. Ryan Hall is definitely stunned. Oh, boy. Hall trying to roll as the fight goes to the ground again. Derek Minner wants to keep this fight standing. He gets another hook in. Ryan Hall doesn't look too bored anymore. He actually looks concerned a little bit. Derek Minner gets a takedown. I think the over-under on this fight was actually 2.5. I took the under. I was surprised that it was over-under. Ryan Hall has such this style that it's going to get finished whether he gets knocked out or he gets a submission early. Minute 40 left in the first round. I thought this fight would get finished in the first round, to be honest with you. And Ryan Hall goes for another knee bar. It's his favorite submission. He goes for, I think he went for 3 or 4 against Topuria. We've already seen 4 in this fight. Excuse me. Oh, I really hope I don't get the hiccups again. I had the hiccups for like 30 minutes today. Ariel Helwani's already tweeting about the dirty move that Priscilla Cachoeira said. If you didn't hear my explanation on that fight, it was the first fight of the night. Cachoeira got choked out in a rear naked choke to start the night, but she tried to gouge the eye of Jillian Robertson 2 or 3 times while she was getting choked out. Super dirty. To start off the night. Interesting way to start, honestly. 20 seconds left in round number 1. Ryan Hall's going to end this round on top of Derek Minner. I would give that round to Derek Minner. Derek Minner got a takedown. He got a really good left hook. Ryan Hall did kind of give the takedown to Derek Minner, though. I mean, takedown's a takedown. It's going to count, but... Oh, I got to change this. It's hilarious. Ryan Hall has no emotion. His corner's barely even talking to him. You see Derek Minner's coaches are yelling at him, and Ryan Hall's coaches aren't barely even talking. Hall doesn't look concerned at all. He has this poise in the octagon. That's pretty crazy. He's going to have to do a little bit more in round 2 if he's going to try to win on points. Although Ryan Hall's obviously going to try to get the submission locked in here in round 2. I saw a couple comments say they think Ryan Hall's going to win. I'm with you. He's going to need to do something though. I saw a couple comments say. Here we go. Round number 2 underway. Derek Minner's really going for those leg kicks. Ryan Hall has such a weird style. Oh, and Minner lands a good overhand. Ooh. Minner catches Hall right now. Hall is able to land some hammer fists from this back, though. Ryan Hall's so creative on the ground. I don't know how you game plan for someone like Ryan Hall. Minner now in the full guard of Hall. Joe Rogan giving a spiel right now about Ryan Hall being an elite black belt. Yep. It's good to have Joe Rogan back. I feel like he either missed 268 or 267. UFC commentary, UFC pay-per-views are just not the same without Joe Rogan. A couple more comments. I'm going to try to get to them. I want to be able to talk about these fights as it's happening. Appreciate everybody commenting. Let me know about what you guys got for bets tonight. Let me know who you think's going to win the main event. Let me know who you think's going to win any fight. I put this out there earlier. Let me know who you guys think's going to win Garbrandt O'Malley if that ever happens. The press conference between those two is hilarious. And Ryan Hall's getting a nice triangle right now. Looks like he's transitioning for the armbar. He might have it. Derek Minner trying to pick him up and slam him, and he does and gets out of it. Great job to pick. Derek Minner's pretty strong to get out of it like that. Ryan Hall is not going to give up an armbar easy. And now still in the full guard of Hall. Derek Minner has Hall's neck right up against the cage. That can't be comfortable. Ryan Hall's overrated? I disagree with you, Felipe. I don't know. I think Ryan Hall's jiu-jitsu is going to be able to keep him in any fight. I think his last fight was just it was a tough matchup against Topuria. He's been doing good against Derek Minner. I guess, look, Ryan Hall's super creative, and he is great at his jiu-jitsu, and he's going to be able to tap you if you're not super careful. But here's the thing, right? If you are super careful, if you have a good top game and you know how to stray away from submission holds or get out of them once you're kind of put in, Ryan Hall is really one-dimensional, I guess you could say, which is, okay, Hall has him in a triangle, raining elbows right now, and Minner just shrugs it off. He is in a pretty good triangle right now, though. Hall could have a minute and a half left in round number 2. Only good thing for Minner is that he has Hall up against the cage, so he's not able to put the pressure on it and squeeze like he wants to. Although he adjusts his legs. Oh, and he's raining elbows still. Ryan Hall has Derek Minner in a tough spot. Super tough. Derek Minner's trying to squeeze his head out, but Hall is an expert in keeping that leg vice. And he's landing elbows as he does it. Ooh, Derek Minner's in a tough spot right now. Super tough. Joe Rogan thinking exactly what I'm thinking. How do you score this? You're in control time, but and Derek Minner gets out of the triangle. His arm is still wrapped in Ryan Hall's legs. Keep the comments coming in, guys. 29 seconds left in the round. I'm going to get to him as soon as this round's over. Derek Minner's looking at the ref saying, what do you want me to do? Don't look at the ref, man. You got to get out of this fucking hold. Ryan Hall with a huge amount of control time is going to give him this round. And that's it for round number 2. Wow. We actually have a really good fight. Ryan Hall was able to really control that round, put Derek Minner in a bunch of different submission holds. Minner's doing good to fend off tapping because Ryan Hall had him in a deep triangle at one point. He didn't give up. Derek Minner's going to need to do a lot more to be. He's going to have to give a lot more output if he wants to stay in this fight, though. If Minner's kind of slowing down, Ryan Hall can go at this all day. His grapple stamina is ridiculous. All right, your comments. Diane says that Poirier is going to kill Oliveira. I agree with you. I think I've seen a lot. I have a bunch of people saying go. Okay. I don't know what you guys mean. Cody Garbrandt would knock out Sean O'Malley. O'Malley's a punk. O'Malley is a punk, but he's a punk that can fucking box. I like O'Malley. What else we got? Miranda Maverick's going to win. I hope so. Pod bet. Miranda Maverick. Round 3 is starting. I'm going to try to read off a couple more. Derek says Amanda Nunes is going to lose tonight. I will bet you that she doesn't. I've put in enough bets that I am fine making that bet. And the last one, Sean O'Malley would knock out Cody Garbrandt. Yeah, I feel you. I think he would too. All right, here we go. Oh, Jesus. And Ryan Hall already has Minner in a triangle. 30 seconds into round 3. And he gets out of it. Sorry. So still in the full guard of Ryan Hall. Now, who gets this control time, right? Because obviously Derek Minner is in the top position. He's in Ryan Hall's guard, but Ryan Hall wants him to be in the guard. So, I mean, I guess from the judge's perspective, you're going to give the control time to Minner. And Ryan Hall's going for another knee bar. And he's rolling. Okay. Oh, yeah. Ooh, great job by Minner. His left leg was locked up, but he put his right leg right on the throat of Ryan Hall to get out of it. That was a good job by Minner. Why are people saying go? I have like 4 or 5 comments saying go. I don't know what you guys mean. And now Derek Minner looking for a leg lock. That's interesting. Ryan Hall tapping would be super interesting. Hall now in side control with his left shoulder in Derek Minner's neck. Derek Minner can't do anything right here as Ryan Hall now transitions to top mount. Oof, Hall and top mount is not where Minner wants this fight to be. Now he's getting control time for the judges. Hall has actually been doing a great job of landing body strikes and hammer fists from his back, and now he continues it in the top mount. He has the legs grapevine. Derek Minner's not going to be able to get out of this for a while. Minner's going to have to buck and explode, or Ryan Hall's going to have his way with Minner in the 3rd round. 2 minutes, 45 seconds left in the round. Five submission attempts already for Ryan Hall. Hall has taken a bunch of deep breaths. Minner tries to buck and explode. Hall keeps him on the ground. And now Minner just holding Ryan Hall there. This is interesting. If Hall thinks that he won round 2, he could just keep Minner in this position for the next 2 minutes. He definitely has the ability to just keep him in this position and not let Derek Minner get his feet under him. And Ryan Hall now looking for an arm triangle. You know Ryan Hall can go for any submission in the books. Ryan Hall is super knowledgeable on the ground. This is the Ryan Hall that we were expecting in this fight. The Topuria fight made him look terrible. Topuria is just that kind of a monster, and now Ryan Hall just absolutely dominating Derek Minner every time it goes to the ground. We saw Minner with a really good left hook in round 1, and that's really the only offense he's been able to muster. Minner just having some easy body shots on the ground, but that's the only offense he's been able to do. Ryan Hall dominating the back half of this fight, rounds 2 and 3. Minute left in round number 3 in the fight. All right, 30 seconds left in the round, and Ryan Hall has kept Derek Minner in his top mount for about 2 minutes now. He's winning on points. He has Minner's right arm trapped in between his legs, and he has the left arm trapped in an arm triangle. Minner literally can't do anything. Oh, he loses the arm triangle, but now he actually, and that's the end of the fight. So Ryan Hall able to dominate Derek Minner on the ground. Likely will have a unanimous decision win. They're showing a little bit of the highlights. Minner had a couple good strikes when he was standing with Hall in round 1. Ryan Hall took a while in round 1 to actually get this fight to the ground, a couple minutes. But the back half of the round, whether a good uppercut by Ryan Hall as well. Whether Derek Minner got tired or he just couldn't compete with Hall on the ground, which, let's face it, not many humans on earth can. Ryan Hall was able to dominate this fight in rounds 2 and 3 on the ground. That should be a unanimous decision victory for Ryan Hall. We will hear the decision in just a couple seconds. Take a quick commercial break, and we will be back for the decision. Here we go. Judge's decision. Wow. 2 judges scored at 30-27 for Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall winner by unanimous decision over Derek Minner. So on the podcast, we go over each fight every week before the pay-per-view coming up. We didn't have the confirmation on Randy Costa, Tony Kelly, and we didn't have the confirmation on Jillian Robertson's opponent. So this is the first fight that we talked about. We did take Ryan Hall. So far, MMA Complete is 1-0 for the night. And coming up next, we have Miranda Maverick versus Erin Blanchfield. We did take Miranda Maverick, and Maverick is on the pod bet for this pay-per-view. So fingers crossed. Miranda Maverick's supposed to be the next fucking Valentina Shevchenko, I guess you could say. Super young, super talented, standing, can knock the fuck out of people. And we're hoping for Maverick to win. Erin Blanchfield, no joke. Erin Blanchfield, I want to say, won her last fight with like 140 strikes to 25. So it really should be a great fight coming up. Ryan Hall humble in victory, shouting out Derek Minner. Said his uppercut almost knocked him out in round 1. But Ryan Hall will be moving on in featherweight, and he is a tough matchup for anybody in that division, especially people that don't have a great ground game. Ryan Hall is here to stay. I think Ryan Hall is going to have a bright future in the UFC. All right, Miranda Maverick versus Aaron Blanchfield is coming up next. Let me know about what you guys got for bets. We did bet pretty heavy on Miranda Maverick in this one, and I'm sure a bunch of you guys did too. So let me know what you guys got. We're going to take a quick commercial break. You're watching MMA Complete UFC 269 live reactions with me, Zach Drapo. Um, Check out our Facebook, Fans Only Sports Network. Check out our Twitters, Fans Only Sports Network, @complete_MMA for our own personal Twitter, MMA Complete Podcast on YouTube, and go follow Fans Only Sports on many of their networks. I've been putting out a lot of content lately, and this is the last pay-per-view of the year, so you guys got to go show them some love. We'll be right back. All right, so coming up next, Miranda Maverick versus Aaron Blanchfield, women's flyweight division. We just saw Derek Minner lose to Ryan Hall by unanimous decision. We also saw Tony Kelly TKO Randy Costa in the second round, and we saw Jillian Robertson with a third round rear naked choke of Priscilla Cachoeira. Real quick, I want to address the Robertson Cachoeira fight because that's what everybody's been commenting about. Jillian Robertson had a rear naked choke cinched in. There was only like 20 seconds left in the fight, and Priscilla Cachoeira, which everybody I'm sure has seen on Twitter by now, tried to gouge the eye of Robertson. Super dirty move, really bad. The ref actually tried to swat her hand away the first time, and then Cachoeira went for it the second time. And with only like 3 seconds left in the round, Cachoeira did tap out to Robertson. It was a super dirty move. Cachoeira will definitely be hearing about that, and Robertson will get some praise because she kept in the rear naked choke even though she was getting a thumb right in the eye twice. So that's how that fight ended. Jillian Robertson did pick up the win by submission in a fight that she kind of dominated anyway. So Jillian Robertson now has the second most wins in the UFC flyweight division at the moment for any current competitors. Robertson probably will. I think she's going to get moved up into the top 10. The flyweight division right now is pretty tough, but Robertson has her jiu-jitsu is pretty top notch in that division. where the division is home to a bunch of strikers. So I think she could make a lot of leeway in that style matchup, kind of like what we just saw with Ryan Hall, one of the best jiu-jitsu artists in the featherweight division, who's now looking to make another push, or making his first push into the top 15 after losing to Ilia Topuria a couple months ago. So coming up next, we have Miranda Maverick versus Erin Blanchfield. This fight definitely promises to be a boxing match. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, kickboxing match, really. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight did get stopped, round one or round two. For the pod bet, MMA Complete does have Miranda Maverick, so fingers crossed. We really need that first pod bet to hit so we can stay in a good mood for the rest of the night. It's 7:13, or it's like 7:07. My clock's fast. 7:07 right now, Eastern Standard Time. So we got like another 6 hours to go. I will be here all night. There's going to be a quick intermission in between the early prelims and the prelims and the main card. That'll be my time to go smoke and eat and shit. But thank everybody for tuning in. We have had a really good turnout already. Not surprised because this UFC 269 prelims and early prelims are stacked full of great fights. So I'm sure you guys wanted to hear about that. I'm going to get to your comments as soon as possible. Right now, the walkout is underway. Erin Blanchfield actually walking into the octagon as we speak. Miranda Maverick coming out next. So we're going to take a quick commercial break before this fight starts, and we'll be right back. All right, so Erin Blanchfield versus Miranda Maverick set to go underway. Both ladies are in the octagon. Bruce Buffer's about to give a spiel. Quick note that I didn't even realize. Miranda Maverick, known for being one of the youngest and best prospects in the women's flyweight division. Erin Blanchfield's actually 2 years younger. Erin Blanchfield only 22 years old, which makes me feel like a total bum. And Miranda Maverick, 24. Miranda Maverick had I thought, a bad judge's decision in her last loss against Macy Barber. Otherwise, she would be undefeated. She did lose to Macy Barber, I want to say, in October. Might have been September. Looking to get her win streak going again. I do think that Miranda Maverick will be able to beat Blanchfield. But the future's bright for the women's flyweight division, man. You got two really, really great, vicious competitors in Maverick and Blanchfield. So young. They're looking to only get better. Quick shake. Yeah, quick little knuckle bump before the fight gets started. And here we go. Bruce Buffer about to do his thing. We're going to get into this fight really soon. If you are just joining, make sure you drop comments on what you guys have done for any bets tonight. I love talking about them. I love hearing about what you guys bet on. It's not too late to get your bets in for the main card. I might even do a little live betting myself. Okay, that's a good little parlay. Mike just said that he has a parlay of Augusto Sakai, Kai Kara France, Sean O'Malley, Dustin Poirier, and Dominic Cruz. I don't really like Sakai. I like Tuvasa in their matchup. I think Tuvasa is going to be able to outlast him to a decision win. I don't love Kai Kara France, but that fight between him and Cody Garbrandt could go either way, honestly. It's a decent parlay. I want to hear what you guys think about the overs. I said it on the podcast this past Thursday night, which if you want to check it out, Fans Only Sports Network and MMA Complete podcast on YouTube. Every Thursday night at 7 p.m. we go live. We actually have a lot of really good podcasts coming up to end the year. We do our annual superlatives, and we're doing our own reordering of the UFC divisions. That'll be coming up in the next 3 weeks. But I went over each of my picks for tonight. I'll go over real quick as Maverick and Blanchfield are getting introduced. The next couple fights, I think Miranda Maverick, I think Andre Muniz, I think Jordan Wright, I think Tai Tuivasa. I got Dominic Cruz, I got Josh Emmett, I got Sean O'Malley, Cody Garbrandt, I have Jeff Neal, I have Amanda Nunes, obviously, and I have Dustin Poirier. So here we go. About to go underway. Women's flyweight bout between Miranda Maverick and Erin Blanchfield. This should probably be a really entertaining fight. I think it's going to go to a decision, but I would not be surprised if we saw a TKO in the first or second round, honestly. Maverick opened up with a bunch of kicks. Good outside leg kick. Oh, and a really good overhand into right hook combo for Maverick. Maverick doing a good job staying in the pocket. Has a 2-inch reach advantage, looking to use that to her advantage. Good push kick by Maverick. Blanchfield actually doing a very good job moving her head. We've seen Maverick miss a bunch of punches already. Oh, and Blanchfield has a really good trip and takes the back of Maverick. Fight already goes to the ground. After I was saying I don't think it was going to go to the ground at all. Blanchfield still has a back mount, and she's actually able to trap one of the legs of Maverick. Blanchfield having really good control over the left side and still the back of Maverick. Maverick wants to keep this fight standing for sure. As the fight actually gets to a back clinch right now, both ladies standing in the middle. And Blanchfield slams her down and transitions to the other side of back mount. Blanchfield doing really good right now to keep control of Maverick. Maverick gave up her back really early in the fight. Let's see if it's going to cost her. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left in round one. Ooh, and Maverick has a good knee and throws Maverick back on the ground. And Blanchfield gets another trip. Now goes into the half guard of Miranda Maverick. Let's see if Maverick is good on her back. Gets Blanchfield into full guard now. It's a little bit better positioning. Both ladies only have one loss to their careers. 22 and 24 years old, respectively. Bright future for the flyweight division. We're seeing this early matchup between these two girls in their careers already. Halfway through round one right now. And Blanchfield still maintaining control now in half guard. Maverick doing decent to try to throw her off her from her legs. Blanchfield just trying to stay on top. Has an arm triangle position right now on the wrong side of Maverick's body, though. And now into a fly guard with one butterfly hook. Tyron says Miranda Maverick better win tonight. I'm with you, man. It's not looking great so far. I'm with you, though. Maverick able to get back to her feet. Blanchfield still has her back and now put up against the cage. Blanchfield looks like she is really trying to get this fight to the ground. Going to try to test the groundwork of Maverick as she gets a nice another trip. That's probably the third takedown for Blanchfield so far. Goes right into half guard. It was actually the fourth takedown by Erin Blanchfield. And Blanchfield now transitions to top mount. Maverick up against the cage. Has a knee under the body of Blanchfield to stop top mount completely. And moves your legs, able to transition into half guard. Both ladies kind of trading not really any significant blows, but they are just punching each other on the ground. And Blanchfield able to, she was able to get to side control for a second. Goes back to half guard. Miranda Maverick doing a good job keeping her legs under, not letting Blanchfield advance to any super overpowered positions on the ground. But Blanchfield just keeping the pressure on her, keeping control time. Ten seconds left, and Blanchfield actually, she did maintain control. And they're standing up against the cage, and that's it for round one. Erin Blanchfield with dominating round one. All right, take a deep breath for me. Give me another deep breath. Okay, hold up. All right, so on the strike, she is clearly trying to push down. Come on, Maverick. We can't have the pod bet go under this quickly, right? All right, round two about to get underway. Erin Blanchfield easily won that round. She didn't have enough output for a 10-8, but she did dominate on the ground game. Was 4 for 4 for takedowns. Miranda Maverick didn't really get any offense in. And here we go. Let's see if Miranda Maverick can keep the fight standing. Oh, that's not good. Way too early for that shit. Yeah, like 6 more hours for the podcast. Already yawning. Not good. Brian, the Poirier fight's going to be like another 5 hours, so you know. Here we go, round two underway. Maverick's going to have to keep this fight standing if she has any chance in it, really. And a good left hook by Maverick there. Ooh, a good lead elbow by Maverick. And now into the clinch, and Blanchfield gets a trip and goes right to the ground again in the full guard of Maverick. It was really a judo throw. Is Blanchfield the best 22-year-old in the UFC right now? She certainly appears like it. Blanchfield with a vice grip, reverse arm triangle on the back side mount of Maverick. Maverick looking to really get up, but her neck is cranked. Oh, she's able to kind of slip out of it. Now standing, clinched up against the cage, and both ladies are standing. As Blanchfield goes for a double leg, pushes Maverick up against the cage, and gets the double leg. Picks up Maverick, slams her down. Three and a half minutes left in round two, and Blanchfield is dominating Miranda Maverick. In half guard currently. This is not looking good for the pod bet, guys. This is not looking good. And she goes right into side control, looking for a crucifix. She has the crucifix. Oh, Blanchfield might be able to end this fight right here. Has Maverick in a really deep crucifix, raining elbows in round two. And Maverick's actually trying to get out of it. She's almost able to get her legs behind the legs of Blanchfield to get out of this crucifix. Let's see if the damage has been done. Referee was taking a look. He stepped back now. She kept the crucifix in. She's actually looking for a Kimura now. Maverick in a really deep position. She was able to swivel her arm out of it and actually got out of crucifix. Now Blanchfield in side control. Does have the arm triangle still locked in. Props to Maverick for being able to get out of that crucifix, but Blanchfield's still completely in control. 2 minutes left in round number 2. And Blanchfield just passed the 6-minute control time. Fight's only been going on for 8 minutes. She's been in control on the ground for 75% of the fight, over 75%. Blanchfield dominating Miranda Maverick right now. Now in north-south position. Maverick has been able to do good to get out of positions that Blanchfield has cinched her in. Only problem is Maverick hasn't given any offense in either round, really. Maverick has looked good for her bottom game. She just hasn't done anything to win any points. Yeah, Miranda Maverick's losing. Yeah, Brian, I know. Aaron says, why is Perez Chanel crossed off? Matt Chanel versus Alex Perez was actually canceled earlier today. That fight's going to be postponed to another pay-per-view or fight night in 2022. Blanchfield looking for a Kimura right now. Does not have any body control over Maverick right now. She's actually on her knees with Maverick in front of her. Blanchfield I think this is her third Kimura attempt already. Oh, she might have an armbar. Oh, she has a really good armbar position. Maverick isn't giving up her arm, but she has both legs over the body and face of Maverick. As long as Maverick doesn't give up her arm for the next 10 seconds, she's going to be able to get out of this. All right, and that's it for round number 2. Erin Blanchfield dominating. Check us out on our Twitter at @complete_MMA. We've been live tweeting all throughout the show. I put up a bunch of polls earlier that you can go vote on as well on our Twitter. Twitter's been gaining a lot of traction over the last couple months. We want to try to keep that going. At @complete_MMA, right there. Round number 3 about to start for Miranda Maverick, Erin Blanchfield. Blanchfield doing everything right. Miranda Maverick hasn't had any offense so far. Erin Blanchfield looking like a seasoned pro at only 22 years old. This fight is going to put Blanchfield on the map. Might even get her ranked in the flyweight division. And I talked about this on the podcast. Blanchfield's last fight against Sarah Alpar was so dominating. Only problem was we hadn't really seen the competition Alpar could give up, so we thought Miranda Maverick would be able to really, keep this fight standing and have her way with Blanchfield. But Blanchfield has taken her down and had over 80% of this fight has been controlled on the ground by Blanchfield, which is staggering. Decent left hook by Maverick. Let's see if Blanchfield can do anything for boxing. Good leg kick by Maverick, too. Ooh, a decent combination by Maverick. This is definitely where Miranda wants this fight to be. She wants to keep it standing. She wants to show her kickboxing. Maverick has really good ability to switch her stance and come in with combos, almost like a blitzing technique. And a good body kick by Maverick as well. Maverick showing that she still has a lot to give in this fight. Really just needs to keep it standing. Blanchfield, I want to say 6 for 6 on takedowns so far. Blanchfield with a pretty good jab for her own. And Maverick goes for a clinch, and she's actually going for a single leg. Takes the back of Blanchfield. uncharacteristic of Maverick. Why wouldn't you just keep standing? Why wouldn't you just keep boxing? You're going into Blanchfield's world now. And Blanchfield takes control of the clinch and puts Maverick up against the cage looking for an inside trip. And a really good elbow in the clinch from Blanchfield as she now goes for a double leg. Oh, she gets a single leg with an inside trip and now is in the full guard of Maverick. Blanchfield, I want to say 7 for 8 on takedowns so far tonight. This Blanchfield girl's the real fucking deal. 22 years old and dominating Miranda Maverick like this. Whoo, man. The pod bet was not good. We haven't missed a pod bet since UFC 265. That was because we had Derek Lewis beating Cyril Gahn. Looks like the first bet of the pod bet of the night. It's only 7:30 and we're going to be out. So that's unfortunate. Speaking of betting, check out our friends MMA Betting Advisors on Twitter at MMA Betting Advisors. Been linking up with them. They've been giving us a lot of good picks. We've been giving them a lot of good picks. So definitely go give them a shout out or go give them a check out. They have a Patreon where they actually give out all their picks and they do really well over the last couple months. So going back to this fight, Blanchfield trying to cinch in a rear naked choke. Does not have body control. Does have one hook in though. 2 minutes left in the third round. Blanchfield still dominating. Miranda Maverick definitely going to need to work on her takedown defense after this one. Her jiu-jitsu has actually been pretty good. She's been able to hang with Blanchfield on the ground. But the only problem is once Blanchfield gets her to the ground, Miranda can't get her off her. Coming up next is Andre Muniz versus Eric Anders. Huge Andre Muniz fight. Huge Andre Muniz fans we are. I think that Andre Muniz is up next in the middleweight division. If you didn't see his last fight, separated the shoulder of Jacare Souza in an arm triangle, which just doesn't happen to Jacare. And Andre Muniz is only 27 years old, so I think he has a really bright future. He fights Eric Anders, who's a tough motherfucker. And I think if Muniz does get this win, he might even be able to get ranked. A bunch of these fighters. There's so many fights in the early prelims and the prelims that the winner is going to have a push for a ranking in their respective divisions. I think Andre Muniz might be the number one candidate for that, as long as he can get an impressive win over Eric Anders, which I think he will. I think he's going to be able to have a submission in the first 2 rounds. That will be the last fight of the early prelims, by the way. And then I do believe that we're going to have a quick little intermission. I need to get some food in me. So we're going to have a quick intermission between the prelims and the early prelims. So this fight, which Aaron Blanchfield is about to win in 40 seconds. And then Muniz versus Anders. And then after that, we're going to take a quick break before the Bruno Silva versus Jordan Wright fight. Aaron Blanchfield with a super impressive victory. 20 seconds left, but it is pretty much secured. 15-minute fight, and she had about 13 minutes of control time, or 12 minutes actually. Miranda Maverick, not known for her ground game, but her jiu-jitsu's been good, and Aaron Blanchfield's made her look like an amateur, unfortunately. So Blanchfield, the 22-year-old, is victorious. The fight just ended, but we are going to be seeing the judges' decision very shortly, and Blanchfield looks like she didn't even break a sweat. So good for Aaron Blanchfield. Miranda Maverick started super impressive in her UFC careers, now lost her last 2 to Macy Barber and Aaron Blanchfield. Miranda Maverick will be back, though. I really do believe that. She's one of the top prospects in the flyweight division. And now Aaron Blanchfield might have taken that top spot. So the judge's decision will be here in just a couple seconds. We're going to actually, I'll wait until after the decision just so we can get it in writing. Blanchfield definitely victorious, though. Probably a 10-8 round in there, maybe even 2. The round number 2 was probably a 10-8 round. Going to get this tweet out here before I take a break.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, refer to the judges' scorecards for decision. I'm here with the winner, Aaron Blanchfield. Wow, what a performance.
All right, Erin Blanchfield winner by unanimous decision. She had two 30-26 judges' scorecards on her decision victory. So, first off, let's give the woman her credit. She was victorious. And then let's give the first X of the pod bet. Super unfortunate. We had a really good pod bet. We talked about it with the boys the last couple weeks. Thought it was going to hit. That's betting, guys. You win some, you lose some. This is the first time we've lost a pod bet since UFC 265. So was that 3.5 months ago? So you can't win them all, but I still think the rest of these are going to hit. I talked about it earlier about live betting. I might put another pod bet just for those four. And coming up next, we have Andre Muniz versus Eric Anders. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back to watch that fight because Andre Muniz is next on the pod bet, even though it doesn't even matter anymore, which sucks. But, yeah, Muniz versus Anders is going to be a really, really good fight in the middleweight division. Two budding prospects. And, yeah, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back. Thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you keep putting in your comments for your bets and who you think is going to win tonight. I've had a lot of people tell me that Sean O'Malley would kick the shit out of Cody Garbrandt, so I'm loving that. And just keep it coming, guys. Keep it coming. We're going to be here for another 6 hours. I need all the help I can get. All right, we're back. Eric Anders is on his way to the octagon right now. He will be fighting Andre Muniz. As you can see, if you weren't here when the fight just happened, Aaron Blanchfield was just victorious over Miranda Maverick, so we already lost the pod bet. Woo! But we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight still. I did just put another live bet on for the rest of the pod bet, so we got that going for us. And I'm ordering Domino's, so I'm in a pretty good mood. This is definitely stupid, and I'm sure no one's even going to say it. But what kind of pizza should I get for the pod? I don't know what I'm in the mood for, honestly. Eric Anders is looking pretty fucking ripped, I gotta tell you guys. Coming into the fight, good condition. Both of these guys have a claim to be one of the top prospects right outside of the top 15 of the middleweight division.
Display already at UFC 269, perhaps more out of the Minas Gerais native Andre Muniz, repping top fight team, fourth UFC appearance for him. At DC, his mom threw him in jiu-jitsu class as a kid to calm him down and get him more disciplined. I think the MMA masters are certainly glad she did. Yeah, we're very happy for Muniz to be here fighting in the UFC.
And here comes Andre Muniz. Where even is this pay-per-view taking place? I don't even think I even looked it up. UFC 269 is taking place. What's the venue? You guys know? Oh, it's in Vegas. Yeah, it's in Vegas. Of course, it's in Vegas. Andre Muniz versus Eric Anders is the last fight of the early prelims. Prelims will start around 8 o'clock. I'm going to take a quick commercial break so I can smoke and go to the bathroom and shit. But this fight should be... I personally think this fight's going to get ended quickly. I think it's going to be in the first round. I think Andre Muniz is going to win by submission. But Eric Anders is looking pretty jacked. He looks like he's really ready for this fight. So it might turn out to be a motherfucker. I don't know. We've seen a bunch of good fights. As pissed off as I am that Aaron Blanchfield just beat Miranda Maverick, it was a really good fight. The Ryan Hall versus Derek Minner fight was much better than I thought. 3-round decision where Ryan Hall was able to really dominate Derek Minner in the third round. And Tony Kelly had an impressive TKO against Randy Costa. It was good to see Tony Kelly come back after his rotator cuff injury. And then we saw Jillian Robertson have a really tough earned rear naked choke because her opponent, Priscilla Cachoeira, was trying to gouge her eye in the middle of it. Super dirty move. But it's been a pretty good early prelim so far. And we got 4 more fights before the main card even comes on. This is going to be a great fight, great card from the first to the last fight. Bottom heavy card.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist, holding professional record, 21 wins, 4 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 185 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Montana,
Bruce Buffer doing a pretty good job of keeping his introduction short and sweet tonight.
One of the best in the business, Mark Goddard, looked like Buff was going to take a fight out of Andre Muniz, getting up.
Here we go. The fight's already about to start. Muniz versus Anders. Last fight of the early prelims in the middleweight division. This is going to be a good fight. It's going to be a really good fight.
I think that approach would serve him well in this fight.
All right, Andre Muniz opens up with a pretty good leg kick. Both guys opening up in the orthodox stance. Muniz with a really good jab. Last time we saw Muniz, he was able to take down Jacare Souza and submit him quickly. But Muniz showing that he has some boxing to his game as well. Decent left hook. Eric Anders fakes a takedown and comes up with an uppercut. That was a really good level change by Anders. And Muniz gets a double leg. Super impressive. Almost picked him up and threw Anders down. Gets into the half guard of Anders right away. Going for a full mount. Now is in side control on Anders. Andy has Anders' right arm trapped in between his legs. Muniz, obviously super impressive jiu-jitsu. Let's see if Anders is going to be able to fight him off his back. He has a reverse arm triangle right now, does Muniz. And he takes Anders back. Anders able to stand and get up, though. Muniz is going to look to put his body weight on him and trip him all the way backwards to get him back on the ground. That's exactly what he's doing, grapevining Anders' right leg. See if Anders is able to keep his balance and keep the fight standing. That's where Anders is going to want this fight to stay. Muniz almost going for a standing rear naked here. Oh, he lets it go. Still grapevining the right leg of Anders, though. Oh, Muniz gets a nice trip, brings him down. Anders gets right back up, though. Oh, and another trip. And he brings him down and has his back. He has a hook in as well. Anders is in a tough spot right here. He's going to have to fight off that rear naked choke. 2 minutes left in the round. He's got a lot of time. Anders gets to his feet, but Muniz going, it looks exactly like his position against Jacare. Now he has an arm bar. Oh, he has a deep arm bar in against Anders, and Anders taps. Andre Muniz, impressive submission victory in the first round. That's a good hit for the boys. Submission victory by Andre Muniz, check. Under for Andre Muniz, check. And Andre Muniz money line, check. If only the pod bet was still in line. So Andre Muniz, winner by submission in the first round over Eric Anders, impressively too. He kept the back the whole time. As soon as Anders was able to get to his feet with Muniz still on his back, Muniz transitioned right to an arm bar and synced it in quickly. So really good job by Andre Muniz. If you did miss the earlier fights, I'm seeing we're getting a couple new viewers in here. So far, Julian Robertson won by submission in the third round. Tony Kelly won by TKO in the second. Ryan Hall won by unanimous decision. Aaron Blanchfield beat Miranda Maverick by unanimous decision. Aaron Blanchfield is up next in the women's flyweight division. And Andre Muniz beats Eric Anders by first round armbar. I think Andre Muniz deserves to be ranked. I thought he did after the Jacare fight, and I certainly believe it now. So Andre Muniz, really impressive. And coming up next, we got the prelims. So that's it for the early prelims. Coming up next is going to be a middleweight fight again between Jordan Wright and Bruno Silva. We are going to take a quick break. I got to space this out. I'm going to be here for another 5 hours. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back probably in about 10 minutes when the prelims start. And hopefully I'll have smoked and gotten some food in me by then. So I'll be a little bit more active. But keep commenting who you guys think is going to win tonight. Any bets you've put on. Really just keep commenting. I love hearing everything you guys have to say. And you kind of slowed down on the comments from when we first started. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Check out Fans Only Sports Network on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Check out our own personal Twitter, @complete_MMA. And check out our YouTube page, MMA Complete Podcast. We will be back soon. Bye. All right, we're back just in time for the first fight of the prelims. Bruno Silva versus Jordan Wright. I got my dominoes. This is going to be a good night. We only got like 5 more hours of this shit. We did take Jordan Wright for the pick for this fight. I thought Jordan Wright was super underrated coming into this fight. Next fight after this is going to be heavyweight fight, Augusto Sakai versus Tai Vasa. That should be a really good fight. But Jordan Wright versus Bruno Silva. This fight, the over-under was 1.5. Makes you think like maybe there will be a finish, but I got to tell you, I really think this fight's going to go the distance. Jordan Wright is a really technical fighter. Bruno Silva, definitely going to be looking for the knockout, but I like Jordan Wright, so I'm going to take the decision. Appreciate everybody that stayed in. Everyone's saying that Maverick should have won. I'm assuming that you mean for the bets. That's how I think too, but Erin Blanchfield absolutely dominated her. We got one person saying they had, wow, someone said they put $2,000 on Josh Emmett. Good for you. Good luck, Josh Emmett, making his long-awaited return to the octagon as well tonight. Just like another fighter, we saw Tony Kelly, who picked up the win against Randy Costa. So who knows? Maybe the layoffs are going to be helping people tonight. Fight is underway. Bruno Silva and Jordan Wright. Jordan Wright throwing head kicks already. Ooh, landing good combos is Wright. Wright really putting the pressure. These guys are slugging. Holy shit. Now in the clinch, Jordan Wright landed some deep knees into the ribs of Silva. Oh my God. Wright coming out of this fight on fire. These guys are Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva just Herb Dean letting the fight go, but Silva is rocking Wright. Wright trying to stay alive on the ground, and Herb Dean calls it. Damn, Bruno Silva with the huge left hook. Jordan Wright started off so strong in the clinch, but as soon as it separated, Silva knocked him the fuck out. Bruno Silva by first round TKO. Not doing as good on our picks for UFC 269 as we have been for 268, 267, and 266. Bruno Silva by TKO in the first round. Bruno Silva landed some huge shots to separate the clinch, and then it was a left hook that knocked down Wright. After a couple huge hammer fists and straight lefts on the ground, Herb Dean calls it. It's only like a minute and a half into the first round. Jordan Wright did the stanky leg and everything. Herb Dean did get crowned referee of the year, by the way. How crazy is that? He had a lot of mistakes this year. Still one of the most reliable, one of the most respected referees in the game. I thought Herzog or who's the British guy? Mark Goddard should have won that honor, honestly. I thought Mark Goddard probably should have won referee of the year, but nope, Herb Dean. And Bruno Silva gets a picture with Bruce Buffer. Silva has some huge hands, man. Rocked Jordan Wright and then finished him on the ground. Another commenter says that Oliveira has to win tonight for his bets. Let me know what kind of bets you had, Carl. Oliveira was the favorite. Poirier, I think it was close to even. Cody Garbrandt return. What else we have? Mark said Cody Garbrandt's going to be flyweight champion in 2022. I don't know about that. I don't know. I'd like to see it. I like to see Cody Garbrandt come back. Bruno Silva with the TKO victory. Very impressive. Bruno Silva has some power in those hands. So that is the under for the 1.5. Bruno Silva by TKO. Impressive victory. Jordan Wright now has lost 2 of his last 3. Bruno Silva might be making a push into the middleweights top 15. Then again, Andre Muniz, who did just defeat Eric Anders in the early prelims by a first-round armbar, should absolutely be in the top 15 after tonight. So maybe Bruno Silva has the work cut out for him. Silva very emotional in his post-fight interview. This is Silva's 19th knockout in his career. 22-6 overall record with 19 knockouts. That goes to show you his power.
Queria fazer o clinch, então a gente já tinha uma arma já pronta para aquele clinch dele, né? E eu tenho um poder de fogo muito grande.
Got to tweet out the latest victory. Bruno Silva, winner by knockout in the first round.
We knew he had the clinch, and we knew he had to do that. I have a lot of firepower in my hand, 19.
Bruno Silva, man. I thought Jordan Wright was going to be... I think before this fight started, I actually said that I thought Jordan Wright was going to be able to take this fight the distance. Instead, Bruno Silva with the knockout 1.5 minutes into the first round. We have seen a couple unders for the night. Tony Kelly versus Randy Costa was under. Andre Muniz versus Eric Anders was under. And now Bruno Silva versus Jordan Wright, the under. I think we're going to see a lot of overs for the next, 8 fights left tonight? 8 more fights for the night. Oh, God, that's going to be rough. All right, so if you are just tuning in, we did just see Bruno Silva viciously knock out Jordan Wright in the first round. Jordan Wright actually came out with a fucking vengeance to start the fight. Brought him up in the clinch, brought Bruno Silva in the clinch. And then Silva had a 1-2 left-right to separate them in the clinch, landed a big left hook to knock him down, and that was it. 1.5 minutes for Bruno Silva is all he needed. That was a pretty crazy knockout. Bruno Silva has some fucking power. Make sure you check out our Twitter at @complete_MMA. I'm live tweeting all throughout the show. Your comments have been coming in. I won't say your name, but someone said that they had a couple $100 on Jordan Wright. That's rough. As you can see from the pod bet, I've already lost. Pod bet's been going strong since UFC 266. This is our first loss. Miranda Maverick was the betting favorite and a personal favorite of mine in the women's flyweight division. and got absolutely dominated by Aaron Blanchfield earlier tonight. Aaron Blanchfield won 30-26 decision. Complete ground domination over Miranda Maverick. We also saw Ryan Hall have his way on the ground against Derek Minor in their fight. Saw Tony Kelly get the fight to the ground against Randy Costa and have a TKO in the second round. And we saw Jillian Robertson rear naked choke victory over Priscilla Cachoeira, who tried to gouge her eyes out as she was in the chokehold. Pretty dirty move by Cachoeira. So, the Silva versus Wright fight was the first fight that was not really won on the ground, even though Bruno Silva was on top of Jordan Wright, landed haymakers, as Herb Dean called the fight. So far tonight, ground game has really been the factor, especially for the winners. Ryan Hall, Aaron Blanchfield, Andre Muniz, all sensational grapplers. Jillian Robertson, another sensational grappler. We've seen 2 submission victories already in the first 6 fights. I've talked about what happened with the Jillian Robertson versus Cachoeira fight already a couple times, Rob. Robertson had her in a rear naked choke. The fight was like 10 seconds left in the third round, and Cachoeira was just trying to gouge the eye of Robertson, who was obviously behind her. It didn't work. Robertson ended up getting the tap, but Cachoeira is definitely going to be in some hot water. You can probably see it all over Twitter. People were kind of going off about it on Twitter. Who do I think is going to win, Josh Emmett, Dan Ige? I really don't know. If you catch the podcast, which, by the way, every Thursday night at 7 p.m., Fans Only Sports Network and MMA Complete Podcast on YouTube, I said that this fight, Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige, is probably the most well-contested fight that we're going to have tonight, and I really couldn't tell you the winner. Here's another parlay someone said. Poirier, Nunes, Garbrandt, Josh Emmett, Dominic Cruz, and Andre Muniz. I like that parlay. I like that parlay a lot, actually. I don't know about the Jeff Neal Ponzinibbio fight. That's really going to be too close to call. I do like Jeff Neal slightly, but that's a, 6-person parlay, you said? Poirier, Nunes, Neal, Garbrandt. Cruz is another tough one. Pedro Munoz probably is going to have the edge, and Andre Muniz makes 6. So you probably got some good odds on that. Let me know the odds. I can't say it. Unfortunately, we can't really talk about betting odds on the podcast, but I would definitely be interested to hear what you got. Andre Muniz is the only one we've gotten so far for the pod bet. Obviously, like I said, Miranda Maverick did lose to Aaron Blanchfield in a fight that really showed Aaron Blanchfield is here to stay in the flyweight division. 22 years old and dominated Miranda Maverick. Aaron Blanchfield has a bright, bright future in that division. Tracy says she won some big money on Bruno Silva. Good for you. Did you have the under, or did you just have Bruno Silva by money line? Because the under definitely fucking hit. The over-under was 1.5, and he won in a minute and a half in the first round. Bruno Silva able to get out of the clinch and land some bombs on Jordan Wright. Charles Oliveira is the king. Right now, he's the king. But Dustin Poirier has some experience in beating kings. Dustin Poirier's only loss in the last 5 years is to Khabib Nurmagomedov. That says something. I know his last 2 fights against Conor weren't exactly impressive. Conor's really taken a step down, and so, TKOing him once is kind of impressive. And then the way he beat Conor in the first round, but it was a doctor stoppage technically that won the fight. Oliveira hasn't had too great of experience in his last 3 fights. He beat Tony Ferg at the tail end of his career. He beat Michael Chandler, which is impressive. But before that, his last couple fights were Kevin Lee, Nick Lentz, and Jared Gordon, which is not too impressive. But anyway, Oliveira, I heard an interesting comment. Obviously, I'm watching the pay-per-view, and they have the tail of the tapes, and they have these cinematic videos beforehand highlighting the big fights. Poirier's coach said that Poirier has 3 ways of winning. Poirier can win by knockout. He can submit Oliveira, which I thought was very questionable. And he said he can win by decision. He can go the distance. And he said that Oliveira's only chance in winning is by submission. And I'm not going to say that's true. I kind of thought that against Chandler, and then Oliveira showed that he could TKO fucking Chandler. But, he has a decent point. Oliveira's definitely going to look for the submission, and Poirier can really win by I wouldn't say 3 ways. I would say he can win by TKO or decision. But Poirier is more well-rounded than Oliveira, I think, is the basis of that comment, and I think that's totally true. All right, coming up next fight in the card. We just saw Jordan Wright get knocked out by Bruno Silva. So next fight on the card is the heavyweight bout between Tai Tuivasa and Augusto Sakai. I want to talk about real quick, the next 8 fights we got are all fights that could determine a ranked fighter by the weekend's end. Augusto Sakai, number 12 ranked heavyweight currently. Tai Tuivasa just on the outskirts of the ranked. Pedro Munoz, number 8. Dominic Cruz, number 9. Josh Emmett, number 7. Dan Ige, number 9. Holly and Paiva and Sean O'Malley are 1 win away each from being ranked on the bantamweight division. You got Kai Kara France, who's 6 in the flyweight. Cody Garbrandt, who's 7 in bantamweight. So the winner of that's obviously going to be ranked. And then the rest of the fights are higher ranked. Actually, Jeff Neal and Santiago Ponzinibbio are 11 and 13 respective. So the winner of that fight's ranked. The loser might actually fall off the rankings. We got a lot of ranked fights tonight. That's why I commented that this pay-per-view card is so bottom-heavy. You know, we had huge fights just from the start. Jillian Robertson, number 6 ranked in the flyweight division, won. We had Miranda Maverick and Erin Blanchfield. The winner of that, who was Erin Blanchfield decisively, is going to be ranked come weekend's end. Andre Muniz is going to get ranked. Bruno Silva might be 1 more win away. And then the rest of the fighters are guaranteed ranks by their wins. Well, maybe the Paiva O'Malley fight isn't guaranteed ranked, but you know what I mean. All right, we're back. Coming up next, we have Augusto Sakai versus Tai Tuivasa. The fight we just saw, Bruno Silva absolutely knocked the fuck out Jordan Wright in the first round. Bruno Silva had a huge left hook that dropped Jordan Wright and then finished it off on the ground. The prelims are already started, and we have so many more fights to go. We have 8 fights left, and they are all bangers. Tai Tuivasa, Augusto Sakai is going to be up next. After that, we got Pedro Munoz versus Dominic Cruz, Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige. All ranked fights or about to be ranked fights in the prelims of tonight's card. Tonight's card is maybe I don't know how to put this. I said it on the podcast earlier, but it's bottom heavy. But tonight's card might be the most impactful fights on a card this entire year. 268 and 267 were super entertaining, and they had great main events, and they had great main cards. But this card, UFC 269, has a great early prelim. It has a great prelim, and it has a fantastic main card. You could even say that the main card is maybe like the least entertaining of all 3 of the cards in this, whole card. Coming up next, Tai Tuivasa versus Augusto Sakai. They're already showing Tai Tuivasa drinking from the shoe, which is his signature celebration whenever he wins a fight. He takes someone's shoe, puts alcohol in it, and drinks it. It's hilarious. Tai Tuivasa is the man. Tai Tuivasa with a win tonight will be ranked in the heavyweights top 15. Augusto Sakai already in the top 15. He's number 12 at the moment. This promises to be we're probably going to see a knockout. If Tai Tuivasa has his game plan go the right way, I think he's going to look for a decision victory. I think he's going to look to really point victory over Augusto Sakai. Augusto Sakai is going to look to get out of there early. Sakai with heavy hands and really heavy kicks. We've seen Augusto Sakai win a lot of his fights by head kick knockout. He is on a 2-fight losing streak. I know he lost to Overeem in his last fight. I can't remember who the fight was before. Augusto Sakai, I don't believe, has fought since February when he fought Overeem. So Tai Tuivasa has been pretty active this year. I think he has 3 or 4 fights and 2 wins. Tai Tuivasa versus Augusto Sakai is coming up next. So for some reason, the UFC is putting so many commercials in between the first fight, Jordan Wright and Bruno Silva, and this fight coming up. Tai Tuivasa and Augusto Sakai are about to make their way out to the octagon. It's been about 10, 15 minutes since we saw the ending of Bruno Silva, Jordan Wright. Granted, Bruno Silva did knock out Jordan Wright in the first minute and a half. Guess they're trying to space it out, get that ad revenue, but let's get going. Let's get going. We got like 5 more hours here tonight, 4.5. I'm ready to get this show on the road. Augusto Sakai versus Tai Tuivasa is going to be a really good fight, though. I think Tai Tuivasa has what it takes to bring this fight to a decision victory. Augusto Sakai is going to be looking for that knockout. The fight coming up after this, though, Pedro Munoz versus Dominic Cruz. That's the fight that's one of the top 3 fights I've been looking forward to tonight. Poirier Oliveira, Garbrandt versus Cara France, and Munoz Cruz, I think, are my top 3 picks for fight of the night. Dominic Cruz looking to continue his second career resurgence. Obviously, he was the bantamweight GOAT once upon a time, and he's kind of making his way back. But Pedro Munoz, fresh off his loss to Jose Aldo, is looking to keep his top 10 spot. With a win over Dominic Cruz, Pedro Munoz, who's currently number 8 in the rankings, probably is going to move up to number 6 or 7. So both of these, and I mean, Cruz might too. Cruz could probably go up to 8 or 9, maybe even 7 with a victory tonight. I think Dominic Cruz and Pedro Munoz have a really similar style. I think they're really going to be looking for a lot of movement. They're going to look for a lot of combinations. They're going to try to back off, and then when they actually do start exchanging, it's going to be fireworks. I don't think we see an early finish in that fight. I think that the Munoz Cruz fight is going to go the distance for sure, but I think it's going to be a lot of hard shots. I think Dominic Cruz is on his way out of the octagon. I really do, especially with that beef he had with DC. I think that might have taken a little bit of time away from what he could have done to prepare, because Pedro Munoz, you need all the time that you can get to prepare for. All right, we're back just in time for the start of Tai Tuivasa versus Augusto Sakai. Bruce Buffer doing his thing right now. The fight is about to start. This is the second fight of the prelims. Tai Tuivasa on a 2-fight win streak, 3-fight win streak, and Augusto Sakai on a 2-fight losing streak. So the winner of this fight, obviously Augusto Sakai, is still ranked, but Tai Tuivasa with a win tonight should propel him into the top 15. Tai Tuivasa, one of the personal cult favorites of MMA Complete. The boys would tell you that, but unfortunately I'm on my own due to COVID. Augusto Sakai, not as ripped as he usually is. Looks like he's put on a couple pounds. Maybe didn't train as much cardio. Could be definitely in the favor of Tai Tuivasa if his game plan is to go the distance, which I kind of thought it would be. Mark Smith, the referee for this fight, and here we go. Fight going to be on the way. This is going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a decision. I mean, heavyweights, anything can happen. We could see a knockout in the first round like we did with the last fight. Bruno Silva slumped Jordan Wright first minute and a half of the first round. And here we go. Pretty big height advantage for Augusto Sakai. First and only heavyweight matchup that we're going to see tonight. So there was going to be a knockout. Let's see it now. We've seen 2 TKOs so far tonight. Tony Kelly TKO'd Randy Costa. Bruno Silva basically knocked out Jordan Wright, but it's going to get called a TKO. Saw Andre Muniz and Jillian Robertson win by submission, and we saw Ryan Hall and Aaron Blanchfield win by decision. Slow start to this fight. Tai Tuivasa control in the middle of the octagon. Neither guy landing a strike yet, as the T-Mobile Arena audience kind of goats them into getting going. Ooh, a good leg kick by Sakai to start off the action. Tai Tuivasa with a feint left. Ooh, and Tuivasa lands a good left hook that almost wobbles Sakai. Tuivasa still controlling the middle of the octagon. Sakai really does not want to get too caught up in anything. Has been very patient and slow to start this fight. Both of these guys, I mean, Tai Tuivasa always has the gut. Sakai rocking more of a gut than he normally does. Wonder if they're trying to take it slow because they know neither of their cardio is really going to push them through rounds 2 and 3, I should say. And Tuivasa goes for a nice body shot as Sakai clinches him up. Tuivasa with a double underhook with Sakai up against the cage. That's where Tuivasa wants to be. Although a really good knee lands from the clinch from Sakai. Really good knee to the body. Clubbing the ears of Tuivasa. Sakai looks pretty comfortable in the clinch. Both guys just vying for position right now. Sakai has landed a couple strikes in the clinch. Sakai constantly just trying to hammer the ear of Tuivasa. Just slap the ear. And Sakai switches position, now has Tuivasa up against the cage. Sakai is significantly bigger. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a good 10 pounds heavier. He's definitely a good 3 inches taller. Ooh, Tuivasa really looking to throw bombs as they get out of the clinch. Ooh, and Tuivasa lands a big left followed by a right. Gets Sakai up against the cage again. Sakai hasn't really done anything from an offensive perspective. He landed some good shots in the clinch earlier. Probably only has like 1 or 2 significant strikes up to this point. 1:20 left in the first round. I'm so glad I got Domino's. I was starving. Still got like 4 hours left in the podcast. Needed something to eat. Minute left in the first round. Both guys just really still vying on the clinch. Sakai goes for a trip. Tuivasa is able to shake it off. Slow round 1 from these heavyweights. Mostly expected. I thought this fight would go to a decision. Sakai going for a guillotine. Tuivasa gets out of it. Neither guy can really get the advantage over the other in the clinch. Although Sakai has landed more strikes in the clinch. Ooh, Tuivasa lands a big elbow. Possibly staggered Sakai. Oh, and he lands another good right hook to separate the clinch. Let's see if Tuivasa follows up on this. Tuivasa actually goes for a double leg. Doesn't get it. 5 seconds left in the round. Tuivasa probably landed more shots, maybe a little bit more clinch control time. I would give that round 10-9 to Tuivasa. All right, let's go back to the comments. See if we can read some comments. Tuivasa, Emmett, and O'Malley for parlay from Reed. Tuivasa's looking pretty good so far in round 1, so that's not a bad parlay, Reed. Jonathan says Miranda Maverick crushed his parlay. Me too, buddy. Me too. I thought Miranda Maverick would win against Erin Blanchfield for sure, and Blanchfield dominated her. We have a bunch of people saying that they took O'Malley and Garbrandt. Not surprised. I think that Kai Kara France actually has a really good shot against Garbrandt, but I think Raulian Paiva has a really good shot against O'Malley too. I think people are underestimating Raulian Paiva's toughness and his cardio. I think Sean O'Malley has had a lot of fights against not great opponents lately, and Raulian Paiva is his best opponent he's fought in. What the hell's going on? Huh. My UFC live stream's actually glitching out right now. I can still see the fight though. First round was pretty much slugfest. Both guys really went into the clinch. Tai Tuivasa did just land a good left. He's actually opening up against Sakai right now. Oh, he's landed some big shots against Sakai. Drops him. Tai Tuivasa, winner by second round TKO. Holy shit. Let's see if he gets the shoe. Yep, someone throws him a shoe. And someone throws him a beer. Tai Tuivasa with the shoe celebration. So funny, man. Tai Tuivasa with a huge TKO win over Augusto Sakai. What is that, a Miller High Life? Champagne and beers. Good for you, buddy. Tai Tuivasa, winner by second round TKO. He landed a bunch of... Oh, he got a shoe from Steve will do it. Tai Tuivasa with the win. Tai Tuivasa almost assuredly will go into the top 15 of the heavyweight rankings. Good for Bam Bam. Started the second round really strong. Landed an uppercut and just a couple combos. Left, right, stunned Sakai. And then it was a right hook that dropped him. Mark Smith stops the fight like 40 seconds into round number 2 as we see our third TKO win of the night. So far through 7 fights, this is our 5th finish. So we have seen a bunch of finishes tonight. Whoo, Tai Tuivasa. Augusto Sakai gets dropped. Probably dropped out of the top 15 too.
Next week. I'm not sure we saw him spit in the shoe. I'll let it go. No, he didn't spit in it. I'm happy. I'm kind of happy that New York, the Americanized shoe we have. It is, right.
All right, so we're back. So Tai Tuivasa, winner by second round TKO. Um, It was really just a flurry of left and right hooks that eventually dropped Augusto Sakai. Augusto Sakai, 3-fight losing streak. Tai Tuivasa, 5-fight winning streak. Tuivasa should be we expect him to be in the top 15. 14 victories, 13 by knockout, 14-3 career record. As we prepare next for Pedro Munoz versus Dominic Cruz. This fight coming up is going to be a motherfucker. Pedro Munoz, fresh off his loss against Jose Aldo. Dominic Cruz trying to actually enter the top 10 for the first time, or to win and get into the top 10 for the first time in about 8 years. He's been in the top 10 ranked, but that was just because he hadn't fought in a while. Once he lost to Henry Cejudo last year, he kind of fell out of the top 10. Looking to make his way back, but Pedro Munoz has been in the top 10 for a while, and he's not looking to go anywhere. I do think that Munoz is going to win. Dominic Cruz always has one of the best styles that we've ever seen in the UFC. He likes to switch his stance about every 10 seconds, moves his head more than anyone we've ever seen. So this fight coming up is going to be really good. We're going to take another commercial break. When we get back, Pedro Munoz versus Dominic Cruz. All right, and we're back. I'm going to get to your comments in just a second. Just a quick little recap of what we've seen so far in UFC 269. Jillian Robertson defeated Priscilla Cachoeira by third round submission in a fight where Cachoeira tried to gouge the eyes of Jillian Robertson. Seen that all over Twitter. Tony Kelly had a TKO finish in the second round against Randy Costa. We saw Ryan Hall defeat Derek Minner via unanimous decision in a fight that Ryan Hall completely dominated Minner on the ground. Speaking of dominating on the ground, Erin Blanchfield shows why she is probably the biggest prospect in the women's flyweight division. Only 22 years old and absolutely dominated Miranda Maverick. Andre Muniz tapped out Eric Anders in the first round by armbar. Bruno Silva knocked out Jordan Wright in the first round, and then we just saw Tai Tuivasa TKO Augusto Sakai in the second round. Actually, it was a knockout. It was a knockout. And now we have the money fight coming up. Pedro Munoz versus Dominic Cruz is next. This fight's going to be a war, I really believe. 1 second. Pedro Munoz looking to get back into the top 5 of the bantamweight division after losing to Jose Aldo just a couple months ago. Pedro Munoz will be fighting the former bantamweight champion, the first ever bantamweight champion in UFC's history, Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz has never lost a fight in any organization that was not for the title of the division he was going for. So Dominic Cruz versus Pedro Munoz promises to be spectacular. If Dominic Cruz loses tonight, it'll be the first time he ever loses a non-title fight, which I think is super interesting because I think Pedro Munoz has the ability to beat Dominic Cruz. I really do. Dominic Cruz, obviously a lot older than Pedro Munoz. Cruz has been doing really good in his second comeback in the UFC, really. I mean, he took a bunch of time off a couple years ago, returned last year to fight Henry Cejudo. Since then, I want to say he's 1-2 or 2-1, 2-1. So Dominic Cruz looking to make his comeback into the top 5 of the division. And I mean, hell, if he does, TJ Dillashaw's waiting there. So maybe in a couple years we get to see Cruz Dillashaw 3. That would be pretty cool. But I think Pedro Munoz has this fight in the bag. Dominic Cruz past his prime. Pedro Munoz definitely in his prime. The deciding factor in this fight is going to be the ground game. I truly believe. Dominic Cruz, he's a well-rounded fighter, but let's be honest, most of his game is standing up. It's in his ability to switch stances and confuse opponents by the angles that he takes. A big fan of uppercuts, and he doesn't have a whole lot of finishes on his record, but he has a couple, so he's definitely able to finish. Only thing is, I don't believe Munoz has ever been finished. I know his fight against Jose Aldo, he didn't look great, but that's just because Jose Aldo has been in another fucking planet since joining the bantamweight division. Speaking of Jose Aldo, man, his fight against Rob Font was a classic. Jose Aldo, now the number 2 contender in the bantamweight division. I truly believe that Jose Aldo is going to get a title shot in 2022. Whether it's against Sterling or Jan is a whole other question. Will we ever get to see that rematch between Jan and Sterling? Who knows? I've been a proponent of Aljamain Sterling is going to retire before he ever fights Piotr Jan again, which I think is a joke. Aljo has been ducking Piotr Jan so long. I don't think he'll ever want to fight him again. Let's go more into the comments. So we have a bunch of parlays that have come through, people telling us about our bets. If you do want to tell me about your bets, I'd be sure to read them. I love talking to you guys about them. As you can see from the pod bet right over here, there. Miranda Maverick did lose earlier, so the pod bet's already gone, unfortunately. Someone had a couple $100 on Tai Tuivasa. Good for you. Tai Tuivasa did just win by second round TKO. That sucks. Someone had Bruno Silva, Andre Muniz, Ryan Hall, and Miranda Maverick. So unfortunately, you're like me. Miranda Maverick kind of cost you. Erin Blanchfield, man, she is for real. I will never doubt that girl again. I think she's going to be a force in that division. Only 22 years old. It's crazy. Um, what else we got? What do you guys think about putting money on Juliana Pena? Well, listen, here's the thing, right? Here at MMA Complete, we always talk about sprinkling. And of course, any fighter who's fighting Amanda Nunes is going to open up with amazing odds. So it's worth sprinkling on Juliana Pena for sure. I don't know if it's worth putting her on parlays, especially if it's your lock parlays. But I'll say this: I like the over in that fight. I like the over 1.5. Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena. I think that Pena is going to be able to maybe, I don't want to say win a round, but I think she's going to be able to have some control time against Amanda Nunes, take her to the ground, be able to really get some control time, probably get some. She might even get a submission hold or two that goes kind of deep. I think Amanda Nunes is going to win for sure, but Juliana Pena is one of the better grappling fighters in the women's bantamweight division, and I think that Pena imposes a pretty decent challenge for Nunes. You know, Nunes has been, she obviously is the best pound for pound woman in the world, one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. I would give her top three, man or woman. But Juliana Pena is really good on the ground, and I think Amanda Nunes, while she's great on the ground, is better standing. And so I think that if Pena can capitalize on maybe some weaknesses Nunes might have on the ground, I think Pena is definitely worth sprinkling a little bit of money, especially because of the number that she's getting. What else do we got? Let me know all your bets. If you want to tweet at me at your bets, I've been responding to people's tweets all night at complete_MMA. Poirier by submission is I can't say the actual odds number, but Poirier by submission is interesting. I've heard a lot of people say that tonight. If if Charles Oliveira taps out, uh, I'll shave my head. I don't think that there's any way that Charles Oliveira is going to be tapping out. Third degree black belt. I think he is. His jiu-jitsu is so advanced. I don't think he's going to beat Dustin Poirier tonight. I think Poirier actually wins, but I don't think Poirier wins by submission. I think that'd be crazy. I'm going to get to your comments. I'm going to get everybody's been commenting, and I really appreciate everybody commenting. I'm going to get back to them in just a second because the next fight is about to start. Dominic Cruz versus Pedro Munoz. This is one of my most hyped up fights for the entire night. I mentioned that my top three fights for the night were Poirier Oliveira, Kai Kara-France, Cody Garbrandt, and Pedro Munoz, Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz loses tonight. It'll be the first time he's ever lost a non-title fight. I think that's pretty interesting. Pedro Munoz just lost to Jose Aldo a couple months ago, looking to get back in the top five. Dominic Cruz looking to be in the top five for the first time in years. When he fought Henry Cejudo, I don't think he was top five. I think he was maybe, he might not have even been ranked because he was out of the game for so long. But I like Dominic Cruz's chances. I just think Pedro Munoz has been much more active. He's more in his prime. He's younger. And I think that he's going to be able to really, I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to go to a decision. Here we go. Mark Goddard is the referee, and the fight is underway. Looking for Dominic Cruz to do his style that he always does, changing up his stance all the time, moving his head a lot, going back and forth. He does have a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight. Let's see if he uses that. Opens up with a head kick. Pedro Munoz, they're both going for head kicks. Dominic Cruz with a really good jab to start the fight, too. Both of these guys so quick. Pedro Munoz does have socks on. Let's see if that does anything. I can't tell you how. We should have really have kept a tally on this, but the amount of times we say socks, but ankle braces has not caused, but led to that fighter losing. It's got to be like 90% of the time if you wear ankle braces, you lose in pay-per-views that we've covered at MMA Complete. We do live streams for every single pay-per-view. Next pay-per-view is UFC 270, January 22nd. We're going to be going live from 8 p.m. all the way to 1 a.m., so make sure you check that out. Dominic Cruz landing a good amount of hooks. Ducked under a left front kick from Pedro Munoz and cracked him. So Cruz doing pretty good to land some shots. He does have the reach advantage. Cruz goes for a single leg, does not get it, and misses with the left hook attempt right after. Cruz not switching his stance too much. He's being very active and moving his feet, but he's staying in the orthodox stance. I don't think he's switched to southpaw at all so far. And a good leg kick by Cruz, followed by a nice jab. Cruz is doing very well, putting a lot of shots on Munoz. Moving his head. Munoz can't even really touch him. Oh! Pedro Munoz rocks Cruz. Cruz does good to get back, though. It looks like he's back in control. Oh! Munoz lands a huge hook on Cruz. Gets him on the ground. Cruz is in huge trouble. Pedro Munoz in a side back mount now, trying to land shots as Cruz gets a hold of the leg and does a nice roll. Dominic Cruz was rocked, but he stayed in the fight and now is on the ground with Munoz. Both fighters standing again. Let's see if Munoz tries to capitalize. He doesn't. He's just controlling the octagon right now. That is a knockdown for Pedro Munoz, though. And Cruz definitely heavier on his feet right now. Has not been moving around as much, trying to jump up and down, get his feet back under him. You could tell Cruz was really rocked. Oh, and Munoz lands another 2 shots. Munoz with the power shown early. A minute 40 left in the first round. And a good leg kick by Munoz. Dominic looks like he's got his composure back. He's not as jittery as he normally is, but he's landed some good shots and he's moving around a lot. You can see that Cruz has his mouth open, though. Ooh, and Cruz throws 5 or 6 shots in a combination, misses all of them. Ooh, a good trick by Cruz. And he goes for a guillotine. Both fighters stand again. Nice jab by Munoz. Munoz definitely the more powerful of the two. Munoz is he's not tall, but he's a pretty beefy 135er. Here we go. Cruz starting to really get his footwork back into him. Feinting leg kicks. Throwing high volume combinations, but Munoz does really good to just back away from the shots. Ten seconds left in the round. Ooh. And Cruz ends the round with a flurry of shots. So a really interesting first round. Munoz gets the 10-9 with the knockdown. Go follow us on Twitter at @complete_MMA. I've been live tweeting throughout the whole show. Pedro Munoz probably did win that round 10-9. That's what I'm scoring it as. Dominic Cruz landed a bunch of good shots, though. I think he might have had more strikes landed, but Munoz had that huge knockdown. The amount of ads, the amount of commercials that have been playing through this UFC pay-per-view is almost ridiculous. We saw a huge gap in between the Bruno Silva-Jordan Wright fight and the, what was the next fight? The Augusto Sakai-Tai Tuivasa fight. And now we're seeing ads in the middle of the fight in between rounds. So here we go. Round 2 is about to be underway between Munoz and Cruz. Munoz did have the knockdown of Cruz in round 1 that probably secured him the round. Here we go. Let's see if Cruz has his legs back under him. He looks like he does. He looks like he's composed again. We've seen Dominic Cruz get knocked down and come back before in his fights against Garbrandt and Dillashaw. And Munoz lands a good little flurry right there. Joe Rogan calling it right. Dominic Cruz has his hands low right now. Has his hands down by his hips. Munoz tries and misses with a leg kick. Slower start to round 2. Both guys try to feel each other out. Great head movement by Munoz to duck under a head kick. And a good jab by Munoz there too. Dominic Cruz has a pretty good chin. He was in the flurry of his own combination when he got tagged by a left uppercut by Munoz. That's what knocked him down. Good body kick by Munoz. Again, these guys definitely more patient in the start of this round number 2. We've seen Dominic Cruz use a lot of feints so far. He feints a lot of front kicks. He's been feinting jabs. We know Dominic Cruz's style is to just move his head and move his body in stance and then come in with flurries as he throws 4 or 5 strikes as I say that. You can tell Dominic Cruz with another combo and then ducks away from Munoz. A good leg kick by Munoz, stopping Cruz as soon as he was about to come in. Let's see if Munoz is able to time those flurries by Cruz just like that. And Munoz goes for a double leg as Cruz shakes him right off. Good takedown defense by Cruz. Ooh, a good jab by Munoz. Munoz controlling the middle of the octagon. Both guys attempting leg kicks. Neither of them are really hitting any of them, though. Munoz has been doing good to use that jab to keep Dominic Cruz at distance when it looks like he's about to give one of his flurries. Haley says Dominic Cruz needs to win. Cruz looks like he's winning round 2 so far. Munoz probably had round number 1, though. Like I said, this fight was definitely always going to go to the distance. This is a really great matchup between these two. Two really quick 135ers. As Cruz opens up on a huge flurry, but Munoz is able to duck every shot. Munoz head movement looking Dominic Cruz-like tonight. As he does it again in a 1-2 by Cruz. Munoz is opened up above his right eye now, though. Cruz has definitely thrown more strikes, and he's been putting more pressure on Munoz. Oh, Pedro Munoz's head movement is really good. Oh, and Cruz lands a left and a right there, though. Cruz definitely having a much better round 2 so far. 1 minute left in the round. As he ducks under a huge overhand by Munoz. That could have been trouble. Catches a leg kick by Munoz and gives him a nice left jab for his troubles. Oh, and he has a knee for Munoz. Cruz landing some big strikes, and Munoz really good to just stay in the pocket and try to avoid him. 30 seconds left in the round. Cruz landing a lot of shots and has a really good leg kick right there.
Nice leg kick from Munoz, but a big second round response from Cruz. 5 minutes to go.
All right, after round number 2, Pedro Munoz took a step back, and Dominic Cruz really showed that he has the ability to go the distance. landing much more significant strikes and throwing a lot more strikes. Dominic Cruz probably threw like 100 strikes in that round alone. So the fight, on my card at least, tied up right now, 1919, as we're seeing more ads. Jesus Christ, the UFC is pushing ads tonight. Oh my God. Monetize the shit out of UFC, I guess. ESPN Plus putting their shit out there. Speaking of ESPN, speaking of sports, just while I have a second in between the rounds, shout out to Bryce Young for winning the Heisman Trophy tonight. Bryce Young, the first Alabama quarterback in history to win the Heisman Trophy, and Nick Saban's fourth player to ever win that award. So shout out to Nick Saban for tying the record, and shout out to Bryce Young, fourth sophomore ever to win the Heisman. Good for him. He's gonna be maybe not the number one pick in 2 years, but he's gonna be in the top three. Bryce Young, quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner. As we get started for round number 3, here we go. Shake hands in the beginning of the round, and let's get it, boys. Open up with a flurry, and both guys' head movement is so spectacular. The output both of these guys are putting out there is ridiculous, and they're just ducking under or ducking back half of each of the other guy's shots. Dominic Cruz goes for a double leg. Munoz absolutely throws him off him. Good defense by Munoz. And Munoz looking to open up. Oh, Dominic Cruz catches a leg kick and throws a thunderous left. Munoz says, bring it on. You can tell that Cruz is landing more shots, but I don't think Munoz respects the power of Cruz at all. I think Cruz is much more timid of Munoz's power than vice versa. Evident from the knockdown we saw in round 1. Munoz's left jab that caught Cruz right in the button. Minute gone in round number 3. Again, if Dominic Cruz were to lose this fight, it'd be the first time he ever lost a non-title fight in the UFC or WEC. Munoz with a good body kick there. Cruz definitely has his footwork back under him, though. Both of these guys' head movement and striking defense is elite. Munoz landed a good right hook, caught Dominic backing up, though. Didn't seem to slow down Cruz at all, as he feints another leg kick. Dominic Cruz has feinted so many leg kicks tonight. Really just trying to get the timing of Munoz. And oh my God, I keep saying it to you guys. I know you can't see it, but the head movement on both of these guys is so crisp. Shaking the left, ducking under the right. Beautiful stuff by these 135ers. Almost halfway through round number 3 right now of a 3-round fight. Dominic Cruz catches Munoz lunging in, almost gets the single leg. Munoz is able to throw him off again. This has been a great fight. And a good leg kick by Cruz. Good Superman jab by Cruz. Ooh, and Cruz hits Munoz with a 1-2 right there. Doesn't seem to stagger him, though. The over did just hit for Cruz and Munoz as we're over halfway through round number 3. Another jab by Munoz. This fight is almost too close to call. Ooh, a good right by Cruz. As he ducks away from the next 2 shots. Munoz's strikes that are land are more impressive, but I think Cruz definitely has a higher output. Dominic Cruz again just throwing 3 or 4 shots and then ducking away from Munoz's counters. Cruz lands a couple there, though. Just misses an overhand. Holy shit, that would have fucking rocked Munoz. And a good leg kick by Cruz. Goes for a double leg, doesn't get it. Misses the left hook attempt right after the takedown. Cruz with a 10 strike advantage, significant strike advantage in round 3. Dominic Cruz got knocked down in round number 1, and he could come back to win the next 2 rounds to take the fight. Dominic Cruz showing the heart of a champion right now. 55 seconds left. Munoz has really not even been able to touch Cruz. Shout out to Dominic Cruz. The fight almost got stopped in round 1. This is a crazy fight, guys. So far, the fight of the night, for sure. Performance of the night for both guys, really. I expect Dominic Cruz to win, but shit. Could easily go to either guy. And they are slugging it out to end the fight. 5 seconds left, and they're just throwing bombs. As Dominic Cruz ducks under another shot. And that is it for the fight, guys. So far, the fight of the night for sure. Dominic Cruz probably won rounds 2 and 3, though. Probably won round 3. Definitely won round 2. I think this is going to be 29-28 for Dominic Cruz. As we said before the fight started, Cruz had never lost a non-title fight, and I don't think he did right now. I think that Dominic Cruz has this style about him where he just moves his feet, he keeps his feet working, and then out of nowhere he'll throw a 4-5-6 strike combination. And Pedro Munoz timed it perfectly in round 1, and as Cruz threw his second strike of what was, I'm sure, going to be a 4-fight combo, Munoz landed a beautiful left hook that dropped Dominic Cruz. And that was about halfway through round 1. Ever since then, Dominic Cruz won the rest of the fight. Dominic Cruz with an amazing showing tonight. You could tell he wanted it. You could tell that he wants to be back in the top 5 of that division. And I think after tonight, I mean, he was number 9. Munoz is number 8. I think Cruz will be able to go to 6 or 7. Granted that he wins, which I think he will. Decision coming up right now. Both guys shake hands and wait in the decision. This is going to be tight. This is going to be a really close fight. Who won? Who fucking won? Here we go. Bruce Buffer announces it. It's going to be a unanimous decision. 29-28. Dominic Cruz, winner by unanimous decision over Pedro Munoz. What a rounds 2 and 3 comeback for Dominic Cruz. Great showing from the former champion. Takes out Pedro Munoz, who is... Listen, Pedro Munoz is going to be back. Pedro Munoz is not out of the division by any means. He's lost to Jose Aldo and Dominic Cruz, 2 of the best 135 and 145ers ever. So Pedro Munoz will be back. He had a tough 2 fights. Dominic Cruz had his best performance in probably 5 years tonight. So shouts to Dominic Cruz. Another pick from MMA Complete. We did take Cruz for sure. I thought it was going to be a lost hope after we saw Dominic Cruz get knocked down in the first round. But hey, he came back. The head movement on both of these guys is elite. The head movement is what kept both of these guys in the fight. As Joe Rogan is showing the knockdown in the first round again. Dominic Cruz shouts out the ref for not stopping the fight like the Henry Cejudo fight. Dominic Cruz just said his home state of California is right here for Las Vegas. All right, Dominic Cruz, winner by unanimous decision. It's been a great card so far. We've seen a lot of great fights. That is probably the fight of the night so far. Dominic Cruz with a super impressive performance. The head movement he displayed was what we expect from Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz has been one of the best UFC fighters of all time in terms of head movement, and he showed it tonight. So did Pedro Munoz, though. I really think Munoz will stay in the mix for the top 10 of the bantamweight division. one of the most competitive divisions in the UFC right now, if not the most competitive. And I do believe that Munoz at number 10 is a travesty because I do think that he belongs closer to top five, but unfortunately for him, he didn't get it done tonight. So we're going to take another commercial break as we get ready for the last fight of the prelims, Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige. Don't go anywhere. You're watching MMA Complete Podcast. Check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. Our Twitter is right here at complete_MMA. Go follow Fans Only Sports Network on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where you can also check out all of our content. And we will be back in time for Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige. All right, and we're back as we get ready for the next fight and the last fight of the prelims coming up, Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige. We're going to take a quick little recap of what we've seen to get here so far. We just saw Dominic Cruz beat Pedro Munoz by unanimous decision in a fight that both guys looked incredible. Dominic Cruz won by sneaking out rounds 2 and 3 after getting knocked down in the first. So shouts to Dominic Cruz. We before saw Tai Tuivasa knock the fuck out of Augusto Sakai and then take his beer chug, which was always good to see. Tai Tuivasa will be ranked in the top 15 of the division by Monday. We also saw Bruno Silva knock out Jordan Wright. So we've seen 3 really exciting fights so far in the prelims, and then before that we saw Erin Blanchfield dominate Miranda Maverick by her wrestling and jiu-jitsu. We saw Ryan Hall defeat Derek Minner by his wrestling and jiu-jitsu. And then we saw Andre Muniz tap out Eric Anders, obviously by his jiu-jitsu. So ground game has really been a force so far in the fight, except for 2 fights tonight, that being the Bruno Silva Jordan Wright fight and the Dominic Cruz versus Pedro Munoz fight that we just saw. So coming up next, Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige. This is a fight that we expect to be standing the whole time. And Josh Emmett, the brick shithouse that he is, with the power that he has, versus Dan Ige, who Ige is a little bit quicker. He is better first on the ground, but I do think that this fight will stay standing for the most part, and I think Josh Emmett will be able to win. Josh Emmett with his first fight back in about a year and a half, 2 years, because of his, I can't remember, I think he had an arm injury in his last time out. Rosek, the next fight coming up is going to be Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige. That fight will be the last fight of the prelims. Then we're going to take another commercial break before the main card starts. So the first fight of the main card will be Sean O'Malley versus Holly and Paiva, one of the fan favorite fights coming up tonight. Josh Emmett is on his way. He's actually just stepping into the octagon now. So we are getting ready for the fight. Before this fight starts, the last fight of the prelims, Dan Ige versus Josh Emmett. Take a quick second for station identification. You're watching Fans Only Sports Network. Go check them out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. All right, Emmett versus Ige is about to get underway. I just read an interesting fact. Josh Emmett with a 6-fight streak that he has a knockdown. Only one of 4 fighters in history, excuse me. The only other fighters to do that besides Josh Emmett is Chuck Liddell, Cody Garbrandt, and Rampage Jackson. So you're talking about 3 of the heaviest hitters for their respective divisions ever. And Josh Emmett's done it for 6 fights in a row now, and I believe that his last 6 fights are the 6 fights he's had since dropping from lightweight to featherweight. And we always see that with fighters dropping down. The power just stays there. We're probably going to see that from Cody Garbrandt in about an hour when Cody Garbrandt makes his first fight at flyweight against Kai Kara France. Cody Garbrandt, one of my favorites on the card, to win by knockout. I have a little bit of money riding on that. This is the only fight in the card, though, that I did not put any money on. This is the only fight that I really did not know what the hell was going to happen. Josh Emmett could win by knockout. Dan Ige could win by submission or decision. Josh Emmett could win by decision. This fight's going to be a really interesting fight, and I think it's going to be very, very close. We haven't seen Josh Emmett in almost a couple years. It's really been like a year and a half. But Emmett making his return tonight to fight Dan Ige. Dan Ige has been in not a tremendous stretch over the last year and a half that we haven't seen Emmett, but Ige is definitely one of the most explosive 145ers on the planet. And it's going to be a treat to see them fight now. Last fight of the prelims before we get into the main card for UFC 269. UFC 269 has been a great card so far. We got 6 more fights, including this one, and I think we're in for a treat, guys. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be going all the way to 1 a.m. Maybe, hopefully. If you guys keep commenting, if you guys keep viewing and tweeting at me and shit, I'll stay up for it. If not, we'll see. We'll see. Make sure you do tweet at me, though. I've been tweeting all throughout the show at @complete_MMA. Here we go. Round 1 underway between Emmett and Ige. Both fighters open up in an orthodox stance. Dan Ige in white, Josh Emmett in black. Ige with the first action of the fight as he lands a nice jab on Josh Emmett. Dan Ige is the quicker of the two. Josh Emmett the more powerful. An outside leg kick does not land for Ige. And Emmett is being very timid. 40 seconds gone, has not thrown a single strike so far. Dan Ige has only landed 1, but Emmett hasn't even thrown. See if the ring rust is there a little bit for Josh Emmett. Maybe he's a little timid coming back to the octagon after being off for so long. Oh, a huge overhand right for Josh Emmett lands and Dan Ige gets dropped. As soon as I say that, landing body blows on Ige. Josh Emmett in half guard now with Ige up against the cage. Just overpowering Ige on the ground right now. Oh, and Ige catches a knee from Emmett as he's coming up and takes down Emmett. That was a beautiful catch by Ige. And Emmett rolls him over. Dan Ige takes him down again, though. Dan Ige takes the back of Josh Emmett. He's looking for a rear naked. And Josh Emmett's able to get out of it and get up. And he now is on top of Dan Ige. Wow, a wild start. Well, a very slow start in the first minute. And then sure as shit picked up. Josh Emmett with a huge overhand right that sent Dan Ige 5 feet back and landed against the cage. You can tell Josh Emmett hasn't lost his power. Both guys in the middle of the octagon again. Dan Ige actually in the middle putting pressure on Emmett. Ooh, and Dan Ige lands a nice left hook that Josh Emmett just brushes off. Both guys being very patient, standing again, just testing each other out, getting their reaches about them. Halfway through round one now. Oh, it was a knee injury that kept Josh Emmett sidelined. But he's back tonight. Josh Emmett, number 7 in the featherweight division. Dan Ige, number 9. Ooh, Josh Emmett barely misses with another overhand right. You can tell he's trying to drop Ige with one shot. Ige looks to open up, and Emmett kind of just runs away. Emmett being very patient. And Ige lands 2 jabs back to back. Again, Josh Emmett is on a 6-fight streak of having a knockdown. Only one of 4 fighters in UFC history to do that. Let's see if he can continue it and be the first ever to have 7 fights in a row. Oh wait, did that first shot might have already counted as a knockdown. Josh Emmett might already have the record. Still being very patient. Dan Ige looks for a straight right, doesn't connect. Ooh, connects with a jab though. Ige's jab is money so far. That opening sequence is really going to be the factor. The judge is going to score that a knockdown. If not, Ige has 2 takedowns and more strikes landed. He might win the round even if they do call it a knockdown. Oof. And Emmett now has the most knockdowns in featherweight history with 11. And he only has 6 fights in the division. That's crazy. 20 seconds left in round number 1. Ooh, a good uppercut by Ige. And another jab. Ige's jab is really, really good tonight. And a leg kick by Ige. All right, that's it for round number 1. That round is close, man. That's really close. I think Dan Ige took it, though. I think Dan Ige took it. Oh, UFC has so many commercials tonight. What have you guys been saying? Dominic Cruz is a legend, best bantamweight of all time. I can't disagree with you there. Piotr Jan is going to be up there one day, though, if he's not already. Dominic Cruz is a motherfucker, 100%. Pedro Munoz is no slouch, though, guys. It was a really close fight. Pedro Munoz knocked down Dominic Cruz in round 1, and rounds 2 and 3 were both super close. Cruz did tweak it out in the end, but Pedro Munoz is going to be back, 100%. Dominic Cruz should fight Cody Garbrandt again. We'll talk about that after round number 2. As round number 2 is underway, Josh Emmett throws a huge right straight to start it. Oh my god. Josh Emmett's power is so fucking strong. Ooh, and Dan Ige with a nice little flurry. And a good leg kick by Emmett. Good body shot by Ige as he ducks away from the counter overhand by Emmett. And a good left hook by Ige. Ige's doing a great job of landing shots and then ducking under the counters by Emmett. Emmett really looking for those counters too. Good body shot by Emmett. Ooh, that hurt Ige. Another one. You could tell Josh Emmett is really just looking for that one huge bomb. He knows it'll put out Ige. Ige goes for a single leg and a great sprawl by Emmett to stuff the takedown. As soon as Ige gets up, Emmett lands a good left hook. Emmett's been very, very patient though. Ooh, Ige might have hurt Emmett. Ige might have really hurt Emmett. Emmett goes for an overhand as he's backing up. Lead elbow attempt by Ige. As he goes for a double leg and Emmett sprawls it again. So great takedown defense so far by Josh Emmett. A little bit of clinch work right now. Dan Ige has double unders. Emmett with great body position to stay low though as the guys break up. Dan Ige with another nice jab. That jab's been working with him all night as we're halfway through round number 2. In the fight that the over-under was 2.5. I thought it was 1.5. I was going to say it hit. Ige's been doing very well to stay away from these counter overhands by Emmett. Dan Ige's been much more creative than Emmett. Emmett has really just been going for, he's been throwing straights, but he's really just been throwing overhands. Could be due to the fact that he hasn't been, a good overhand by Ige, followed by a body kick. Oh, and a good left hook by Ige. Ige's chin is very strong. Emmett has been landing a couple shots that would knock down most people. A good left hook after a quick little tie-up from the two by Emmett. Oh man, it's 10 o'clock, so we got about 3 more hours for the night. We have been here for 4 already. Shouts to everybody who has been joining the comments and tweeting at us and everything. Minute left in round number 2 between Josh Emmett and Dan Ige. Ooh, a good counter right by Ige. Significant strikes advantage for Dan Ige in this round, 37-25 so far with 30 seconds left. And Emmett misses another overhand. Dan Ige has Emmett scouted pretty damn well, I gotta say. A couple strikes landed by Emmett, doesn't do too much. You could tell Ige is just much more prepared. as he ducks under 2 overhands and lands a good jab. Round number 2, that goes to Ige as well, I think. I think this is going to be 2018, and Josh Emmett's going to have to look for a finish. Go follow us on our Twitter page, @complete_MMA. We've been tweeting all throughout the show. After this fight is over, we are going to take a little break, get ready for the main card. First fight of the main card is going to be Sean O'Malley versus Raulian Paiva, so you guys are going to want to tune in for that. That fight will probably start right around 10:15. This prelim card has been taking a little longer than expected. Probably due to the 49 commercials in between each fight. UFC really getting their ad revenue tonight. Really getting it. You guys as tired as I am?
The official protein snack of UFC, and there was the big left hand from Ige.
Here we go, round number 3 between Dan Ige and Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett throwing a lot of strikes to start the round. Dan Ige not even bothered by it. Josh Emmett's corner in between rounds 2 and 3 told him to stop trying to go for these Hail Marys. Just be the better boxer. Land more shots. Not a bad idea. As he does land a good little straight there. Looks like he's not... Ooh, a good overhand by Emmett there, too. And a good inside leg kick by Dan Ige there. 1 minute into the fight. Emmett's offense has been entirely one-dimensional. He hasn't thrown barely any kicks. He hasn't really gone for any takedowns. He's thrown a lot of big rights. A lot of big rights. Ige's been able to mix up his angles. He's been able to go to his left and throw left hooks. Ooh, and Emmett rocks Ige. Ige looks like he maintained his composure, though. Emmett keeping his hands down now, too. Might be starting to get a little fatigued as we're 2 minutes into the third and final round. Ige doing a really good job of staying composed, staying in the middle of the octagon. He looks like he isn't tired at all. And a good another jab from Ige. Dan Ige has been switching up his stance pretty willingly tonight, too. Josh Emmett throws a huge combo. Ige was able to cover up for all of it, though. Halfway through round number 3 as the over did just hit for Emmett Ige. Josh Emmett definitely looks rusty after his long layoff from the sport. There was a huge overhand right that Ige just shrugs off, man. Ige has a really great chin. Ooh, and a good hook to get Emmett off of him. Ige has been money. And he now goes back to orthodox. Ige has been doing a great job working the angles against Emmett. Another jab by Ige. Emmett just circling the octagon at this point. And another stuffed takedown from Josh Emmett, though. Emmett's takedown defense has definitely been on point. Emmett looks tired. Emmett looks very tired. Heavier on his feet. A good little trip by Ige. Using his own body momentum against him. That was beautiful by Ige. Emmett's been hunched over just about the whole fight. When it looked like Ige was going for a takedown, Emmett dropped down and Ige just pulled his arms away from him. This has been a very close round number 3. Emmett ducks under a head kick by Ige. Yeah, see, this is why I didn't bet on this fight. This is such a close fight. I think Dan Ige won it. I'm pretty sure Dan Ige won it. But I did not know what to expect coming in. Josh Emmett had a knockdown in the first minute of the fight, and ever since then, I would say that it's really been all Ige. And that's it. It's a great fight between the two. Josh Emmett was gone for over a year, came back to fight a tough competitor like Dan Ige, and really showed that he can still stand and bang. The chin on Emmett is no joke. The chin on Ige is even better. And Dan Ige was able to mix up his punches and his kicks more, go for some takedowns, try some different things. I think Dan Ige did enough to get the decision victory. But we will see. The judge's decision should be in the next 30 seconds. As another ad is coming in for the UFC. Oh my God, they're throwing ads at us so much tonight. Take a quick commercial break as the judges are making their decision. We will be back in time for the actual decision.
Spirited effort, returning for the first time since June of 2020, and Dan Ige, after a compromising moment early.
All right, here we go. Both men in the middle of the octagon as Bruce Buffer's about to say it. Dan Ige's face is much more cut up than Emmett's. Much more. Emmett with the power advantage and just about everything else was Dan Ige tonight. Bruce Buffer with the decision. Unanimous decision. Victory for Josh Emmett. Really? A unanimous decision. One judge had all 3 rounds to Josh Emmett. Wow. All right, we're going to take a commercial break as we get ready for the main card. Make sure you stay tuned in and check us out on MMA Complete Podcast on YouTube. Follow our Twitter at @complete_MMA. And go check out Fans Only Sports on their Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We will be back in probably like 10 minutes to see Sean O'Malley versus Holly and Paiva open up the main card of UFC 269.